right, we're going to start with some Good Molecules silicone-free priming moisturizer. Here I am in all my naked face glory. So I'll wait till people pop on. I'm getting my hair done next week. Look, we've got some grays. See there? Can we pretend they're blonde? They're sparkles. They're sparkle strands. So it's been a minute since I've been on live, but I had my podcast launch. Hello, good morning. How are you? Thanks for your support on my podcast videos. Yeah, I was just saying I haven't been on live in a while. Putting a little moisturizer on. It's winter. Skin is dry. How's everything going? How's your week going? Cora's sick again, so she was out of school for the last couple days. So that always, keeps me away from my videos sometimes. But she's back at school, and I'm back to work. Actually, I actually did have a client call yesterday, but I just mean Cora's at school, so I can actually focus like fully on work. It's hard, working from home is tricky. It's awesome because you have all this flexibility, but then it's also like you feel like, well, like I'm not taking off work, so I'm like, okay, Cora, watch a show. 78 yesterday? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I think it's gonna be like 48 here today. It's rainy, but it's been so mild. It's great because, we haven't had one snow. I like to have one snow. I don't need more than one snow. I think it's pretty, it's fun, but it can be a pain. Yeah, yo-yo temperatures. I know, but at least it's not like 30, unless you like the cold. I hate the cold. I like it to be cold around the holidays. I haven't used foundation in forever, so I feel like it today. CC Nude Glow. Just like putting a little bit on. But yeah, so it's been good here though. My podcast is doing well. Here's my Bobbi Brown brush. It's my favorite. I've had it for years. My podcast is doing well. Getting new people in my circle from my podcast, like as far as my work circle, my client / listener, follower, whatever circle. So it's been really cool to talk to some of those people. Had some phone chats with some people for my market research, which was very enlightening. I have an interview with this place nearby that's for domestic violence. I'm in Louisiana, so spring starts beginning of March. Yeah, and I'm ready. Oh, I'm so ready too. Yeah, our spring, it gets like warm-ish, I'd say April really. Hi, Patty. You were there for Whiny Wednesday? Patty, I'm trying to remember your name, and actually, did you have that same like icon around your name? Because something just looked familiar about it, but Patty. Well, welcome back. Hello. I don't know if I look so great. I gotta put a little, this lighting is not helping either. So yeah, Patty, Cora is, my daughter is 8 years old now. Which is kind of crazy. All the way through getting Cora. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love when people have gone through that, through that whole path. It's just because it's like I was a whole different person then, and like I've experienced so much, and you think, oh, it's like 8 years. It was your same icon. Yeah, it looks familiar. Isn't that funny how our brains like store certain information? So yes, I do somewhat remember. Yes, life does just happen. Of course it does. I don't even do videos like I used to. And I have people that, like got upset I didn't do as much, or just like, someone's like, you've changed. I'm like, well, yeah, it's been 8 years, or even after 2 years, or even just becoming a mother. Like, yeah, you change. I'm still me. I'm still goofy, loud, sparkly. Y'all need Jesus, me. So at the core, I don't change, but I'll say I don't know if I have the exact energy I did 10 years ago, but I'm still energetic. I'm still bubbly. I'm still me. But it, you know, a lot has happened. A lot has happened on my own journey, and to where now I'm life coaching. I'm actually an empowerment coach for mostly for women who have been through abuse. And that's because in my last decade, I sorted through a lot of childhood stuff and a lot of abuse situations myself, where I did some deep digging and I set a lot of boundaries in my life. I had to let go of friends and situations and people. I'm still, oh, you're so sweet. I love you. Thank you. That's so sweet. And I just, you know, I've always wanted to help people. And part of what I loved about YouTube, when I did my Whiny Wednesdays or even my makeup, I mean, that was all fun. But when I would get, you know, I had my P.O. box back then, and I would get these letters and cards of people saying I just brought light into their day, or they were depressed and they'd watch my videos to feel better. Like, that is what life is about to me. That feels like my purpose is to help people feel better in whatever way, and it shows up differently. You're 62, young at heart. Yes, we'll always be young at heart, right? Some people just are. So it's like, that was how I used to do it back then, right? I also worked at a church, but I did my YouTube and did my makeup and, you know, Whiny Wednesday, and would tell stories. And now it just looks different. You know, now I realized a lot of things about life and what I tolerated and put up with, and how I would walk on eggshells around certain people, or how I let certain people treat me, where I'm like a tough, fierce bee, right? Like, but certain people can have a hold of you, right? And it's because of, I learned a lot about narcissism. I studied it, actually studied it for almost 3 years straight, really trying to understand it so I could heal myself and also navigate anybody who tried to come into my life that was like that, right? Or that I had to kind of deal with here and there because if they were in the family or something. We won't give anything away. So what I found as I was life coaching just moms, like getting their own identity back and, like, you know, not putting up with stuff, as I grew in that, I realized a lot of my clients had been abuse victims, right? And that happens. When you start your own business, you tend to attract people that have maybe gone through things you have. So I was noticing a lot of my clients were feeling not good enough in their life, which was a big focus of mine. Like, girl, feel good about yourself, right? Empowerment. But what I found was a lot of that came from how they were raised. Usually mostly it was childhood stuff. Sometimes it was a more recent relationship or an abusive marriage, even someone they had been best friends with that had just treated them like poodles. So the cool thing is it transitioned me from that to working with women who have been abused, or just, you know, have toxic people in their life. Sometimes because of how we were raised, or if we have a parent that made us feel not good enough, or someone in our life that made us feel not good enough, we will attract multiple relationships. It could even be your boss, right? You could almost be drawn. I don't know if it's drawn is the right word, because I hate saying that, like, oh, you're drawing it or attracting it. It's like you tolerate more than somebody else would because you're comfortable in that space, because you're used to it. So that, like, I have this podcast out now. It's called But Still She Thrives. It's on Apple and everywhere, basically. And it's really talking about that. I think sometimes people don't realize they're being controlled. Absolutely. When I was in my situation, I did not realize it was the control factor, which narcissists, they're always either trying to get control of you, or they are checking to see if they still have control. Especially, let's say you break up. Let's say, you know, then they'll send do I still have any control over this person? So it's the control and the toxicity. Like, I knew what I was in didn't feel good, right? Like, it didn't feel right. But they make you question yourself. So then it was a matter of, like, oh, well, using my powder, bronzer, Charlotte Tilbury. It's like, well, maybe I deserve this, right? Or maybe I did something to make this happen, right? Because the narcissist will kind of twist your mind and gaslight you to make you think you're crazy. Or maybe I'm not remembering. They will tell you like that didn't happen. I mean, they can tell you like that's not how it happened. You blah blah blah, right? And you can start to believe them. Like it's just crazy. Um, and you fear them. My thing was the fear was so strong. I had such fear that it wasn't even an option to me to cut off, right? I mean, now I have, but it was not even an option. It's like the fear was so strong, my brain literally would not let me even think about disconnecting from this person. And that's the hard part, is like when your brain, it's almost like a self-protection, where your brain's just like, that can't happen because there's such strong fear inside of you. In my case, there was violence and abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, all of the above. So let me show you my new palette I got for Christmas from Hourglass. I got 2 of them, but today we're going to use this beautiful color. So the podcast is basically all about like dealing with narcissists, navigating. I'm really focusing mostly on after you're outside of a situation. First of all, like staying disconnected, your circle is small. Yeah, keep the good, solid people there. And it helps because the more people you spread your net out to and trust, that's the thing. It's one thing you have acquaintances or there's people you might go out with, like, but the people you put your trust in, you got to be careful. I mean, you have to surround yourself with the right people. And what if you don't tolerate BS, you're not going to have those people in your close circle, right? So that was the thing for me, is I had a tendency to tolerate bull. Here's the other palette. I'm going to use the powder. And so that was a problem. This powder I love because it kind of reflects light a little bit. So it gets like, woo, it's not like that, you know, that matte finish. So the podcast, yes, it's about like, I have the signs of narcissists, or, you know, why we stay, that sort of thing so far. But really, I'm trying to focus on how to stay disconnected from a narcissist and how to avoid this cycle. Because if you had a narcissist in your life, there's something in you that tolerated it, right? So it's like, how do we avoid that from happening again? And part of that is healing. Part of that is getting rid of your negative self-talk, because if you tolerated that, you have negative self-talk. You have doubts about yourself. You may question your worth or your lovability. There's definitely gonna be some mindset changes you need to do. I'm telling you with my wand here. And also there is, boundaries, you know, I've talked about boundaries till I'm blue in the face for like years, but the boundaries, like, you have to be able to set boundaries. And part of that, before that, it takes some healing to get there, because you need to build that confidence to trust yourself and to get rid of the fear of saying no or to put a boundary up. That's really a hard part for a lot of people. Even me, who's fierce and wild and crazy. I had a friend who was amazing, but if you listen to her, she truly thought she had no value at all because of a butt mean husband. Yeah. And I've got clients like that where it's like, I'm sitting there. One of my clients, I'm not joking, look like a model. I mean, absolutely gorgeous, very intelligent, hilarious, very determined, you know, we ended up starting her own business, but when she came to me, she was a stay-at-home mom. I helped her build the confidence to be able to say, yeah, I can do this. And she did. She started her own business. But I remember talking to her the first session. Here is this, you would look at her and it's one of those people you're like, she has it all. You just are like, man, she's got to have the life. She's, you know, she had a lot of money. She had this really good looking husband with a really good job. Like, you would know his work. Okay. I have to not disclose anything, but basically this guy's famous in a sense of the word. Okay. So you're just like, man, she's got this amazing life and she's so gorgeous and this body and this. And on our first call, literally took 2 seconds for her to crack, crying and talking about how she wishes she looked better. She wishes she was more lovable. I mean, the self-esteem on this woman was one of the lowest I have seen in my life. And I deal with women with low self-esteem a lot. I would say she was probably in the bottom 3 self-esteem wise of my clients I've ever worked with. It was low and she was sad and she came to me because she felt hopeless. And thank God, quickly, and that's the thing about me, I think what makes my coaching different, it's funny, my coach who I have was like, you need to figure out what you feel like makes your coaching different from others. Like that's how you have to market, right? And I hate marketing and I hate sales. Oh, it's my least favorite part of the job. So I kind of just thought, I was thinking about this yesterday. She told me to think about it. And I'm like, I think it's that I take people through this journey quickly, right? Like I'm no fluff. We don't have time to blah, 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 blah. Like we're going to get there. We're going to get there quickly and you have to want it, right? That's the thing with my clients. If you come in and you're not ready, it's not going to work. Like you have to be ready. But I feel like I can move people quickly through this process. So within weeks, I mean, 3 weeks in, she was a changed woman. And she was, again, I have to be careful what I disclose, but she started her own group, not job related, like for a hobby. She had big conversations with her husband that she was really scared to have before, saying, look, I need more help around the house. I need more help with this, whatever it was. Just building this confidence and trust in herself. And of course, I'm a God person, so there was some faith stuff in there because she was too. But she started to pray again and go back to church on top of it. Like, so when you make these big decisions in your life, it can impact like all different parts of your life and transform you in way more ways than you thought. Like, I remember I went to a life coach years ago. That's kind of what catapulted this whole thing for me. And what I found was I was going just to be like, well, what's my next job thing? Because I worked in television, but that was like a lot of crazy hours. And now I had a family. So I was like, what's a good job? I'm going to meet with a life coach to just get help professionally. What happened was my entire life changed because we started working on the mindset stuff that was holding me back, which was a lot of this, I'm not good enough. Like I had really deep-seated from my abuse, felt really just like, I'm not good enough. I didn't think I was smart. I didn't think I could ever like run my own business. That was not even a thought in my mind. I was like, oh, I have to work for somebody. Like, I can't do that. I can't handle that. I'm not smart enough. Because my abuser constantly would tell me that I was stupid, that I was like uninteresting kind of sort of thing. It was a lot. So when you grow up with that, oops, sorry, I got a text. When you grow up with that, that can truly affect every part of your life. So when you start to recreate and kind of rewire that, I mean, we're going to use this eyeshadow. Isn't that so cute? Too Faced. It's one of their holiday things. So when you do that, it really changes every part of your life. When I felt like better about who I was, I started treating myself better, caring more about what I ate, going to the gym. I was going 5 days a week. I mean, COVID kind of changed that for a while, so I have to get back to that. But I still work out and everything. But what the biggest difference was when I changed that mindset, the people I had around me changed drastically. I realized some people I had around me were not making me feel good, making me feel like I had to walk on eggshells, or I was afraid to bring anything up if something happened. I didn't truly feel like they were on on my team anymore. That's awesome. You have that gift and using the best way, helping others. Yes, and that is what I want to do, and that's what I feel like I'm here and called to do. So when you change your life and when you start to feel better about yourself and learn how to love yourself better and that you are worthy, like we're all here, we're all worthy, and here's the God stuff. If you're not a God person, sorry. Knowing God created us to be these beautiful, worthy humans, and we're also here to help each other, right? So I'm just using this color as a little backdrop. Oh, it smells like chocolate. Yummy. If I start eating my eyeshadow, I'm sorry, I'm hungry. So not only the faith in that, but also using your gifts and saying, I know I'm worthy. I know I have gifts. How can I use them? That was also part of it. I'm like, well, I feel so much better. All these parts of my life are great. I'm meeting new people because I let go of some people that were, we had some good times. I'm not going to ever take that away. And they were good in ways, but it just got too much for me, the walking on eggshells, and it just felt stressful. And I was like, friendship shouldn't be stressful. So when I let go of a couple of friendships, it freed up space. And what filled in that blank was people that really are like cheerleaders, like lift you up. And I almost felt uncomfortable at first because they were so nice. And this sounds crazy, but if you've been through abuse, you may be familiar with this. Because when you're used to people who are not so nice, or, challenge you a lot, or you have to walk on eggshells, you're so comfortable with that when someone comes along and they're like, oh my God, you're amazing. Like you're like like one of my friends, like you're like superhuman with all you do. And I was like I felt like weirded out because it felt so different than what I was used to. And I was in therapy at the time. My therapist was like, you better get used to this. You are amazing and you are a unicorn. Love a unicorn. Good unicorn reference. But we all are. And it's not, this isn't, oh, I'm special. This is, we are all amazing. We all have our special gifts. We all have our place in this world, and we should all be recognized for it. And it's okay to see that. And so often we are told to shut that down. And we are taught, especially as women, don't brag, And I'm not ever bragging, but I will say I'm so happy I'm letting myself see my gifts so I can share them. Because God didn't give us gifts to be like, no, I don't have that gift. I can proudly say, and I'm not good. There's a lot of stuff I'm not good at, right? Math, okay? That's definitely not happening. Not going to be a math tutor. Sports, not so sporty, right? But if there's something that you're good at, that is a gift, own it. God wants you to, so you can share it with other people. Sorry, I'm trying to decide. I don't want a color for me. Hold on, I'm gonna find something else. I'm going with the winter Too Faced theme. We have these little guys. I'm gonna do Slay What. So we all have a purpose. We have many purposes in this life, but it's like, when we've gone through abuse or toxic situations or had a parent that was really hard on us, if you just had a parent that maybe they weren't narcissists, but maybe they had very high expectations or put you down, or, thinking that it's kind of like tough love, that can do damage, that can make you feel a certain way about yourself. And I'm here to say, you're awesome. Use your gifts, and be proud of it. Because to me, it's not like it's me. So I'm not like, ooh, look at what I'm doing, okay? It's look at what God is doing through me. Like, we're just vessels. God is working through us. Our gifts are not ours, really. They're God's. I mean, our human body is navigating these gifts and sharing them technically, but it's God. Like, so yeah, I'm going to be confident about what God's doing because I trust that like he knows what he's doing. And if he gives me a call, right? Like a calling. This is always important. I love talking about this stuff because a lot of us will be like, I don't know what to do, right? We question ourselves. Or we'll get a nudge to do something like, I don't know. If you get a nudge, always keep learning. Absolutely, Patty. Frugalista in the house, preach. But if you get a nudge, right? If you get a little thing on your heart's like, hey, I wanna do this thing. That's not from nowhere, okay? Like God calls us for our own stuff. I always use the example, God didn't call me to be a network engineer, okay? That's what my husband does. I had no desire, right? So I got called to do work in television production for years, and it was great. Then I got called to teach the little bitties for a little bit. And now I'm being called to do this. And it all led to here. And I think this is like a really big calling of mine. This new podcast, working with survivors of domestic violence, like it feels very overwhelming in a good way of like, this is what I am supposed to do. Dropping jewels. Ding, dang, dong. I don't want to drop my diamonds. Got to pick them back up if I do. They're worth a lot. So you're getting those calls for a reason. Don't question them. I got this nudge to do a podcast. I was like, that's not in my plan right now, God. It was like 6 months ago, maybe. And he said, take your time and actually really plan it. Do it right. He's like kind of mad at me. He like, sometimes you rush into shit. I do. I rush into everything. I always want it done yesterday. I always want it done last month, last year. Like I'm a quick little bunny. My best friend calls me Bunny. She's like, everything's quick, everything. He's like, where'd she go? What's she doing? Woo! But God, when you sit in the Word every morning, you sit with God, you talk to him, whether it's prayer, whether it's, I have devotionals up my butt. That's really weird to say, like God and devotional butt in the same sentence. But I will drown myself in the Word because that is when I get this like dropped knowledge. Like I know this is right. I get those feelings when I am really actively praying, reading the Bible. I will be honest, I do devotionals because when I read the Bible, my head spins sometimes. I'm like, I feel like I'm not understanding this the right way. Devotionals are my jam, okay? You do you, whatever way you want to do it. Again, God calls us for certain things. He showed me a little Facebook ad. He worked through Facebook last year and was like, look at this devotional. This is perfect for you. But if you're getting a calling, you're getting something in your heart that's like, I want to do that, but you keep questioning it, stop for a second and think about it. Why would you be called to that if it wasn't for you? And yes, you got to discern from the devil doing his dirty work. But usually when you get those calls where it feels really good and might feel intimidating because you might have some mindset stuff that's making you doubt yourself, that's different. That doubt that's the devil. That's the negative crap, right? The truth is like you're calling, that feels good. And you're like, man, I wish I could do that. Like, oh, I wish I had the balls to do that. I wish I had the money to do that. I wish I thought people would give a crap what I'm saying, right? I can have that little mindset sometimes where I'm like, no one cares what you're saying, Christy. You're just this nobody sitting here on a screen. Nobody cares. Guess what? Squash it. If God's calling me to do it, somebody's out there and wants to hear it, right? Today was Frugalista. But I just want to remind people about this is something I like preach about way too much probably, and it comes up a lot because really, what is that calling for if it's not for you? Think about all the things you could possibly be called to do and you're not. Like it's not an interest, it's not a nudge, it's not a whisper. So what is your whisper? Or maybe you're doing it. So good on you. If you are doing something that makes you feel proud of yourself and like you're living your purpose, you're a step ahead of a lot of people. We are, like Patty said, we're always learning, we're always growing. Like, my bus is not stopping here. Choo choo. That's the train. Okay, we're gonna change it to train so I can still do the choo choo. Everyone loves the choo choo. This train isn't stopping, right? Yeah, I'm living my purpose. I feel so fulfilled, but that will not stop me because I know I'm here to grow and to change too. I'm sure there's a reason I'm here this morning. I prayed for a sign to help me with my struggles at the moment, and the path came straight to you. Yes, I love that. And if you need, take down my email, Fierce Mama C, FIERCEMAMAC, Fierce Mama C @gmail.com, and write me if you want to talk further, if you want to set up a call, if you need help, even if you haven't gone through abuse. I work with people who have not gone through abuse, but a lot of people that come to me, even if they haven't, you're on the, good, yay, that's awesome. So even if haven't been through abuse, if you have struggles of feeling stuck or feeling like you don't know your purpose or you want more out of life, like, even if you haven't gone through abuse, it can come from the same thing that abuse can cause, right? So odds are, even if you haven't been through abuse, there was something in your life. Usually it is something in childhood, and maybe it wasn't abuse like you might think of it, but you just might have had a parent that was tough on you, or you had to grow up too fast because you had to help out a parent, or you just need an objective opinion. Yeah, sometimes it's when you're in it, it's hard to see, or it's hard to believe. I feel like more with my clients, sometimes they can't see themselves in a different light than they are currently at. They're comfortable. Some people just get really comfortable. I don't like to stay comfortable. So that's part of what helps. Inspiration, me coming in from walking the dog, talking with God prior, it isn't a coincidence. It's never a coincidence. And that's the stuff that gives me chills, right? Because even if it's 3 people on here, I don't give a rat's, right? You all are supposed to be here in this moment. People might watch on replay and like, I hope it blesses them too. But I absolutely think we are always guided exactly where we're supposed to be. And trusting that's, my big word, trust. You know what? I have my Jesus Calling book. Remember, I was doing this like every day before, which I love, but I forget what happened. I think summer happened or something. All right. But the last one I did was in November 19th. Oh, I just literally turned to January 19th. That is kind of creepy. Okay. So we'll do this, and then seek my face, and you will find more than you ever dreamed possible. So maybe you need to get back into the word if you're not, or just lean more heavily on trusting God. Let me displace worry at the center of your being. I am like a super saturated cloud, showering peace into the pool of your mind. My nature is to bless. Your nature is to receive with thanksgiving. So again, that gratitude, right? This is a true fit, designed before the foundation of the world. Glorify me by receiving my blessings gratefully. I am the goal of all you are searching. Ooh, oh my gosh, feel that one. Speaking of preach, I am the goal of all you are searching. Don't you feel like we're always like seeking and questioning? God is the goal of all you're searching. When you seek me, you find me and are satisfied. So seek God. Don't seek. I just listened to a podcast this morning that it said, if you are looking like the world, you are probably not truly living with God. If you're looking like what the world looks like, you're probably not really like hanging with Jesus and getting all that in, which, really reflects this because you're seeking things other than God is my point. Okay. When lesser goals capture your attention, I fade into the background of your life. I'm still there watching and waiting, but you function as if you were alone. We do, right? When we're in our head, like, okay, and I'm very goal oriented, so this can happen to me more often than I'd like to say. I get so hyper focused on like, okay, this podcast, I want to do this, I want to grow it. It feels so different than when I'm like, God, I trust you. I'm going to do this action task to step toward my goal. I'm going to do the steps I can take. And I'm going to step back and trust that you're going to bring it the rest of the way. That's a lot different feeling than how can I do this in this like forward pressure, right? Actually, my light shines on every situation you will ever face. That's the good news. Live radiantly by expanding your focus to include me in all your moments. And I've been there where I've done that, and it's hard. It's almost like dieting or like, right, or working out, where you ebb and flow in your like journey with the big God. It's like I'll be super tight where it's in every moment. I'm playing throughout the day, and then some life event like Cora was home for the summer, so I fell out of my like routine of really checking in. And since then, I've gained back a little momentum, but not to the point I was like at the end of last school year where I would like to be. So that's something I'm trying to work on again. So it's just like anything where you ebb and flow, but give yourself grace and just know it. And okay, I need to be more God focused, right? Can anyone say when they are not as God focused, their life is better? Because I can't. I mean, it's one of those things too. Again, when you're working out more, when you're eating healthy, you feel better. But we don't always do it. It's like we just become a little stupid. All right. Let nothing dampen your search for me. So stop Googling, how do I do this? How do I do that? And Google God. All right. That was Psalm 27:8, Philippians. That was fun. I haven't cracked that book open in a while. I have done I have a devotional called the Soap Devotional, by Horatio Printing. They're awesome. So if you're looking for really good devotionals, she has like 4. Hold on, I'm going to show you just so you can see. Because it's a journal too. So like this, Seasons of Soap. And here, I'll give you an example. So it has like a scripture and then places for you to write observation, application, and prayer, which I just love. I love this thing. So that again is by Horatio Printing. It's with a C, Horatio with the C, Printing. The lady's name is Polly. I actually work with her, like I'm in her group and we have coaching calls and stuff for building business. But anyway, I need some lipstick. I can't leave you with this naked lip, okay? So I want you guys to, this is Maybelline Color Sensational in Nude Whisper. Oh my God. Just got it on my chair. Nude Whisper. And it just crumbled. Bad things are happening, okay? We're going to put that down. We're not going to use that. We're just going to do the gloss. This is Revlon Super Lustrous Gloss in the color Supernatural. But I will leave you with this. If you have something on your heart right now, I want you to first trust it's there for a reason. And take a few minutes after this and just sit. If you want to have a journal like with you, to write some notes, to get inspired. Sometimes that just helps my words flow, like things just kind of flow all together when I pray. But, you know, just say a prayer. Say, God, guide me to the right decision. Let me feel trust in myself and in you and in this decision on what to do. Or light the path. I often say that, like, will you just, like, in my morning prayer, me and Cora pray every day on the way to school. Or when we get there in the parking lot. But every day I say, please light our paths so we can clearly see where we're supposed to step. And when you ask, he does show up. I mean, it sounds like a simple little prayer, but to me, that's one of the biggest things for me every day is like, I don't know. I'm Googling stuff, right? That's what why is Google so big? Because people doubt themselves and don't know and want to find out more information. For me, yeah, I do that, but also, like he said, search me. So I'm like, all right, God, okay, what are we doing today? Light my path so I can see it clearly. I don't want to question it. Give me strength, give me trust, light my path, help me walk through it. Who am I supposed to help today? Who am I supposed to be today? Why can't I eat donuts every meal? You know? All these questions. All right, I will leave you with that. It was so good to jump back in and see you guys. Hope you guys had a beautiful semi-morning, depending where you are. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will try to pop back in. I'm going to actually pray because I need guidance. I'm trying to work on a new tagline for my podcast to really get clear so people can find me better. Oh, good, Patty. I'm so glad it was helpful. Check. Woo! All right. We got two down. That's a win. I'll take it. All right. Thank you guys. And don't forget your smooches and your deuces.